So I'm having sex with his girl in his room while he's in the living room playing video games.
Talk to me about your background, because I don't think, I mean, I've watched you for years, but I don't really know. I mean, what was your family life like? Were you raised by a single mom? Did you have a two-parent home? How did you become Mr. Locario?
Man, so basically, my dad and my mom were together until I was about 12.
Okay.
And it was funny, too. This is the funny part. So I didn't know that my parents were breaking up until after the fact. So what happened was, I literally remember this. I'm in the living room playing video games, right? This is in the summertime. And for some reason, sometimes the door in the front door will be open in the house and people be coming through and everything. So I see this little baby crawling into the house.
Holy moly.
So I say, yo, whose kid is this? Whose kid is in the living room? And then my dad comes in and he's like, yo, that's your little sister. And I said, wait a second, but mom wasn't pregnant. Who's, like, what you talking about? And then, so that's when I found out he was with another woman. You feel what I'm saying?
What?
And that's how I met my little sister. You know what I mean? So at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, their situation's done. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and the thing was, you know, my dad, he's a very cool guy. He's a musician. He's, you know, he was always good with the ladies, but he was still also like a nice guy. So he just naturally had you know, an energy that women liked. But I never really got taught by him about women and situations. So right. So I didn't have anybody to teach me a lot of this stuff. This is a lot of stuff I learned through trial and error.
There you go.
A lot of stuff I learned through, you know, sitting down, crying about some girl that did me wrong. And I was there too. Listen, there's a lot of guys that has cried over a women. You know, it is what it is. I ain't gonna lie, like I was never there. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yes, absolutely.
So, you know, so I had to go through that. And then I went through that. I realized I was like, okay, there's certain things that I learned on my own, but there were certain things that I learned through friends that I had.
Yes.
And I would watch them. Like, it was one time I was with it was a guy that I used to hang out with, and we were in his car, and he was driving. I was in the back seat. His girl was in the passenger seat. Him and his girl got into an argument. He kicks his girl out the car, like just yelling at her. He's like, get the F out the car, whatever. So she gets out the car. And I'm like, yo, what's good? He's like, wait a second. Just give it 5 minutes. She walks around the corner. She comes right back in and sits right back down in the car.
See that, man?
And so I was like, I didn't understand that. And then the funny part was, I think the next day he hit me up and he said, what do you think about my girl? I said, what you mean? He was like, you like her? I said,
what's up?
I said, yeah. I like her. What do you mean? No, he's like, no, do you want to hit that? And I said, what? So I was like, what you mean though? So he's like,
like you're not asking me what I think.
Right, exactly. So then he said, no, do you want to hit that? I said, yeah. So then he said, come through. So I come to his house. I think it was maybe a week later. I get into the house. I come in and she's playing video games in the living room just with underwear and a t-shirt on.
Wow.
So then me, him, and her sitting down in the living room. She's still playing video games. And then she's like, so she said, are you ready? I said, ready for what? And she just grabs my hand. We go into the room. And so I'm having sex with his girl in his room while he's in the living room playing video games. And he was an older dude. So I was probably in my early, like 21, 22. He was probably a little older, maybe like 29, 30.
Yeah.
You know, so I learned a lot from him. You know what I'm saying? About women and about different things. So at the time, I didn't get what he was doing. But then it kind of, you know, I started to recognize and realize what was going on objectively when it comes to dating, relationships, women, sex, all that.
What did that, listen, what, and this is an interesting question now. What specifically did that teach you about women? Because I dated a stripper one time, and she used to do favors for my friends. I had a buddy of mine, his name is Eric, good guy, nicest guy in the world, but he's clueless. He went on a 5-month dry streak, whatever the case may be. I'm like, yo, Katie, my guy Eric's on a 5-month, he's on a 5-month, dry streak. Go in there and show him a good time. She's like, all right. And so she goes in there, and she comes back out. She's like, he didn't want to do anything. Like, he was like that. So I go in there, like, Eric, what? I was like, dude, that's your girlfriend. I was like, Eric, she's not my girlfriend. She's a girl that you're in a slump. Listen, look at her. Like, she's a hard 10. Do what the do so you can get it. He did not understand. And this is where a lot of guys sort of fall short. They believe that just because a man is physically with a woman, that for some reason it's not like a community property thing. Now, don't get me wrong. most people don't really understand the concept of polyamory, open relationships, things of that nature, because clearly that's what you have. My relationship with Katie was such that she got me in with the strip clubs. I got her drugs. I got her into parties. She got to stay at my really nice penthouse. And in return, she'd do whatever I said, right? Hey, Katie, my bike guy is going to fix my bike. I need you to go and he's putting me. She did it without, she did it without hesitation. And my friend Fred, now he wasn't like Eric. Fred was like, oh, yeah, send her on over. So those experiences taught me that women use men for our resources. We use women for their bodies and their sexuality. Why can't we use a woman's body and sexuality for resources of our own?
Oh, right.
So,
of course.
So that experience with, I guess, that old school play, dude, that was a pimp. What did that teach you specifically about women and how the dating market goes?
Right. Well, the thing was when that happened, I got questioned him. I was like, what?
What the fuck, dude? Yeah.
Because first of all, I was questioning him. I was like, how did you know your girl was gonna come back after you kicked her out the car? Y'all was cursing each other out. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
And so he was saying, he was like, look, he was like, I have her mind, meaning like she loves me, I love her. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's happening that way. But then with the whole sex thing, I was like, dude, like what? So I said, you ain't jealous or you don't. And so he said, listen, he was like, that was for you to have fun. But he said, all of that was really for me. And I said, what you mean? He said, well, understand that what just happened was just sex.
Right.
And so he said that I don't want to ever be in a situation where I'm becoming emotional over a woman about sex.
Wow.
So that he said that that was for him to see me with his girl.
Right.
And it's almost like practice for him to be like, nothing could move me.
Sever, right. Just to sever that tie. Okay, she somebody else. Right. That's it. That's it. Gotcha.
Exactly. So it was to train his own mind to understand that it was just sex. When he was like, it was just sex, that blew my mind. So, so the thing was with me, even when I was growing up or when I was, started to interact with women, it was like there was more things about a relationship than just sex.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying? So then therefore it's like, so with me even being open and me being, non-monogamous, it's like with my girlfriend, my wife, and I love them both. And it's like, it's more than just that. So this is what guys don't understand. And I learned this early. So I think that situation actually changed how I view relationships, all that other crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting. One thing that I don't believe that I think women know about men and women. I don't think men understand that it's very, very difficult for women to compartmentalize sex from relationships, sex from feelings.
Right.
For a woman, for the most part, sex is almost always more emotional for the woman than it is the man. Now, if a girl has had sex with 967,000 guys, there's a little bit of emotion involved, just not that much. Whereas a girl who's had sex with 3 guys, and my theory is this, I want to get your thoughts on this. And I think this is just a numbers thing. When a girl gives her body to the first guy, he has 100% of her soul because that's the only guy she's ever been with, right? He has let him enter her body. He has her soul. Guy number two has 50% of her soul. Still a large chunk. Guy number 3 has 33%. Guy number 4 has 25%. Guy number 5 has 20%, and so on and so forth. So when you get to guy number 176, to watch the rest of this interview, go to patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. The link is in the description.